All right, welcome to the third video in our series on outdoor education. This video deals with transitioning students from an indoor learning space to an outdoor learning space without seriously modifying anything about your curriculum. You're basically just doing anything that you would do indoors and transitioning it to outdoors. So reading, discussion, writing, as long as it doesn't involve technology, this can be a pretty easy transition. And it's a great way to sort of bridge that gap between hardcore outdoor education and the reluctant outdoor educator that is still working from within the four walls of their classroom. Now, like anything in education, this process benefits from planning and collaboration. So once again, as I've mentioned in the other series of videos, understanding the resources that your campus offers is really useful in this regard. And potentially creating resources if your campus is not really adequate. This can be easy. This can be pretty cheap. You can utilize the resources that the district can provide, from M&O to the school gardens program. One thing I've done on my campus is I've just got a bunch of stumps and set them out by my classroom so that if I want to take my students outside and have a chat or read a book or listen to something, we can just go outside. Almost anything that doesn't require technology could probably happen outdoors, and I would highly recommend that you play around with that. There's also a lot of expensive routes you can take. One thing that we also did on my campus, and I know other teachers and other schools in the district have done this, which is create, using money, outdoor learning spaces that can be used in a variety of different ways. That might be creating seating, creating shade, creating some sort of weather structure, or in the case of Sandia High School, they created an entire pond and wetland area that's used by the school in amazing ways. I highly recommend you look into that process and look into that feature that they have there. On my campus, I worked with a senior class a few years ago to build an outdoor learning space as part of their senior class gift. So these things can happen, and they can happen quite easily, I've found. It's just a matter of taking those steps and dedicating that time, which is why collaboration is sort of key. Now, as I've mentioned before, one thing you always want to keep in mind are your student needs, safety needs and comfort needs. And this is something you want to consider and plan for. Just as I've mentioned in past videos, having shade or sun, having wind protection or seating, all those things need to be considered. You can't just go outside without really any planning. The last piece of advice I'll give in regards to just using the outdoors as an extension of the physical space of the classroom is things take longer, typically. You have to walk from point A to point B. Sometimes point B is a little bit distant, and I find that when I'm walking from one place to another, it takes about half as long as it does to manage a bunch of students working from one place to another. So be aware of those things, keep those things in mind. Be flexible, be resilient, have backup plans. These are all things you'll get used to, but the sooner you attempt this sort of easiest component of incorporating outdoor learning into your teaching, you'll get more comfortable with the next step, which I'll discuss in the next video. So this is the end of part 3. Part 4 is coming up right about here.